Hey everybody, it's Bethany with Mosaic Cooker. Today I just wanted to give you a quick little video. I am about to work a pattern as a scarf and I am going to work it with no ends. So this is an option that you have. You could do it with any project. I don't think I would do it with the blanket as you'd use a lot of extra yarn, but I did just want to show you this especially if you want to do it as a scarf. So I did my chain row just to catch you up. I did my chain row and now I'm coming back with the single crochets. And I did just want to show you that I'm working the tail into the project. So I'm just working single crochets right over that tail. And then once I get to the end, what I'm going to do is pull the loop that's on my hook. I'm going to make it into a giant loop, and then I'm going to pull the yarn through that loop, the whole ball of yarn. I'm going to pull through that loop, which is going to secure the end of this row, and it's also going to allow me to set this string of yarn on top of my project so that my next color can actually be crocheted over it. So there you go. See, I'm just going to pull that yarn. I made this loop really big, and then you can see I pulled the yarn right through it. So now I'm just going to pull this string, and I'm going to pull it tight. There's other people on YouTube that have done this. I'm just showing you as well because I am about to do it, so I figured why not show it. So now when I work the next row, I can crochet right over that. This end is secure, and now each time I end a row, I'm going to do the same thing, so then you won't have any ends. So then for the next color, I'll just grab my next color, and now I can just go in, no border stitch. I'm going to go into that back loop and pull through and working right over it. I'm also going to tuck this tail in, so I'm actually going to work over both of them. Oy. A lot of yarn in there. Then after that, you won't have any more tails to work over. You could also just choose to work over the tails if you wanted to just cut. This is how you work over the tails. So if you wanted to cut at the end of each row instead of doing it like this, you could do that as well. By doing it this way, now I'll have my second row, and then this yarn is already here. So once I'm done this row, I'll do the same thing with my yarn. I'll pull the big loop, pull it through, but then this is ready to start on this side of the project. So that is how you do that technique. I'm not sure if there's a name for it, but I did just want to show you because being that this is going to be a scarf, I wanted to do it on this one. That allows me at the very end, if I want to put an edge on it, I can, but I don't have any ends to work with. And then one of the other things is you just want to be careful with your tension on here. So I like to work it really loose, and then at the end of the project, I just like to finagle it, play with it. Because once you pull that tension, if you pull this too tight, it's going to squinch your project. So I actually prefer to leave a little extra wiggle room. So since this is over on this end, I work the whole row and then I just play with it to make sure that I'm not pulling too tight. I want my scarf to not, if I pull this too tight, then my scarf will get all wrinkly in the middle. And I can't fix that later, especially once I start working the next row. So I just like to pull it and make sure my tension is right. And that's all you have to worry about. And that is how you work that. And if you want to do a scarf that way and have no ends, that is one way that you could do that. So I've been working the pattern, but I wanted to show you how to start your stitches when you are doing this kind of method. So I've set this is the color, the blue-green I just did. So now I'm going to set that yarn across the top. And then I'm going to take the other color, the cream, And because this row is going to be double crochet and I anchor my stitches, I yarn over. And if you were not going to anchor, you would yarn over again and then work directly into the front. Because I anchor, I go into the back loop of that very first stitch. So right here, I'm going to go into that back loop, go into the back loop, and I pull through, and then I yarn over, and I head into that front loop, and I do the double crochet. And that's how I would start. Now, just to show you again, if you aren't going to anchor, you yarn over, but you yarn over twice. It's going to be harder to have this yarn, it's going to be harder to do this method if you're not anchoring, because when you're working in the front loop only, obviously that just leaves that hanging. So you can see that with anchoring, I go right over this piece of yarn. So it's not really, I don't know of a technique. Other people on YouTube could have a way to do it, but I don't know how you would go over this unless you set it. I guess you could set it right here in the front and then incorporate it like that. Looks like that would work. I don't know how it would impact the visual as you go across, but that might be an option. And then if we were, so in the pattern it is a double crochet, but pretending it wasn't, and pretending this was going to be a single crochet, back loop only for the first stitch, you would yarn over and then go into that back loop, pull through. You can see I included this piece of yarn in that stitch, yarn over, and that's how you would do the single crochet across and securing this back yarn. You could do this for any project. If you did, I do know that people have done it for blankets. What you would want to do is really pay attention to your chart and the width of your project and make sure that you kind of calculate how much extra yarn that is. So like, let's pretend your project is 3 feet wide. For every row that you're using this color, you'd want to add, 3 feet is the yard, so you'd want to add 1 extra yard of yarn. It could be worth it in some instances to do it this way, because now when I work the border on this, it's going to be super easy and then I'm done. I don't have any ends to worry about. They are different. They do look different. So you would want to do something, but like if it's a wall hanging or something to that effect, you might not, and it's up to you. But I just wanted to show you how to do the stitches and show you this method. I know there's different people that do it similar, and this is how I have been doing it. So I hope you find this helpful.